You are a female, you are a female, you are a female.
Yeah, I am. I was in a band, a drag band called Greta Garbo's Thighs.
Greta Garbo's thighs. Greta Garbo's thighs.
Greta Garbo's Thighs.
True. Look them up, guys. Or
Hey, guys. It's your favorite final girl and final boy, Emily and Nick, coming at you with a new episode of Gag Me of the Night, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the worst slasher movies. This week we'll be slicing through 1983's A Blade in the Dark. As always, here's Emily with an original VHS copy, so let's hear what the back of that box fucking says.
A Blade in the Dark is terror and intrigue at its finest, as one man must uncover the secrets behind the quiet darkness of murder. Bruno is a young composer renting a secluded villa in hopes of completing a movie score for his girlfriend. Okay, that's not true, but okay. His calm environment is interrupted by unexplainable and bizarre occurrences. Bruno discovers a strange message on his recorder, a knife out of place, a girl hiding in his closet, drops of blood in his bathroom, and the gardener dragging a large sack across the lawn. Just as quickly as these things occur, they all mysteriously disappear into the stillness of the night. Bruno is certain that a woman has been murdered in his home, but no one believes him. But as the truth seeps out, Bruno is caught in the black quicksand of terror. He comes face to face to the horrors of the night. Just as the night settles into blackness, A Blade in the Dark rips open blood-curdling terror, 1983. Before you say anything, it is not his girlfriend that he's doing the score for. So we already know there's issues with this movie when the back of the box has like misinformation and everything. So what are your thoughts?
I've never been so bored by a box cutter. This is a very, very slow, artful, stupid movie.
I like this movie. I will admit I watched it when I was really young and I didn't like it when I was young, but then it grew on me as I watched it as I got older. It is Lamberto Bava, before Demons, Mario Bava's son, directing it. And I do think some of the slowness has to do with the fact that it was initially supposed to be a 4-part, 30-minute increment thing for TV.
Italians seem very slow on a lot of things, like making food, movies, but they seem pretty quick about fucking.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think that's a problem.
Oh, no.
The movie opens up with these kids that are...
One of the kids looks like he's wearing a swastika armband.
He does, actually. And one of the kids, you'll note, if you are any type of Italian horror movie fan, you'll notice that it is the infamous Bob from House by the Cemetery, who is notoriously horribly dubbed. This movie does get a lot of slack for being badly dubbed. I think, there's the opening of "You are a female, you are a female." I think it's just translated poorly, but I've seen enough dubbed Italian stuff to, I mean, it's whatever. It
only takes two.
The worst I've ever seen. But, so we open with these kids that are making fun of another kid played by the kid Bob from House by the Cemetery.
And one of them is a bona fide Nazi. Yeah.
And they're telling him to go down. They throw a softball down into this basement, and they're like...
also, I'm not trying to be a weirdo. Are there blonde Italians?
Yes.
Really?
They're very...
very rare?
Rare, yeah.
Oh, it's like Black Russians.
But they throw a baseball down, and he's
that's a drink no one will drink. No one will take one with me.
Go down and get this ball, and he's like, down there. And they're like, if you don't, you're a girl. You are a female. And then they say that 5 times because I counted. So the kid cries as he walks down the stairs, and then a scream is heard, and the bloody ball that they threw down the stairs comes back up and is thrown up the stairs. So then we get to the credits. the score starts playing, which I like the score a lot, though it is super overplayed. But
it won't be the last time you hear it.
No, it will not be at all. After the credits, you see the gardener. His name is Giovanni. And the composer of the score, Bruno. And Tony, who is the landlord of this villa.
And Tony.
And they're talking about Bruno's work and how Tony's renting this villa so he can compose the music for this horror movie that...
He just rented it for a month, too, because you know how that goes.
Yeah. Because he's composing this music for a horror movie that's done by his friend Sandra. It is not his girlfriend. So let me just, not the back of the box was wrong.
Sandra, the director who really, really loves filming child murder.
Yeah. And apparently later on we do find out that Bruno doesn't usually compose music for this type of stuff. So it's neither here nor there.
He's more of a, not opera, but a Broadway hairstyle.
Yes, I don't know what the fuck.
He did the soundtrack for Hair.
They never say what kind of music he does compose for, but it's not horror. So,
Rant.
So Tony wants to hear some of his stuff, but so
he wants a tape.
Yeah, he wants a cassette. So Bruno is going to, and Tony also wants to know who the killer is in the movie, but Bruno says that he doesn't even know because the director is hiding it from everyone. She hasn't told.
Scene,
yeah, the last scene is a surprise. She's told no one. So it cuts to Bruno and Sandra, and they're watching the opening sequence that we saw at the beginning of the movie, and Sandra explains the spirit of the movie, so Bruno can understand what the music she's looking for. And that's where he's kind of like, are you sure you should pick me for this? Because I don't usually do this kind of stuff. And she says, no, you're the only one that can do it. And that's why I've put you in this villa because it's very isolated and scary. Next scene, we see someone walking around the villa mysteriously. And then we see this person goes in, it's first person POV. So this movie, by the way, is Italian and it is more of a giallo, really, which is basically an Italian slasher. However, there's a lot of slasher elements, especially because it's 1983. So giallos were kind of going out anyway.
IMDb and a Wikipedia page, as opposed to some shit like Blade in the Dark, fucking Dream Maniac. Yes.
So this first person POV, whatever, walking around the area that Bruno is recording and sees a magazine with a woman on the front and
nudie magazine day.
And the person takes a box cutter and goes through the magazine, finds a picture of just a chest, boobs, and cuts through the pages with the box cutter.
Why would you do that? Cut up titties. What a shame.
Well, we'll find out, I guess. I mean, kind of, but
they're on my wall, the Titty Hall of Fame.
In the boneyard?
No. The hall.
Oh, in the hall. Okay, Hall of Fame. I get it. Okay. So Bruno...
Not in the boneyard.
Bruno arrives home.
There's only been 2 people in the boneyard.
Okay. So Bruno arrives home and he's in the studio and he notices that his metronome is running and he stops it. But he kind of just laughs it off.
He stops that shit because he can't keep time and he knows that he's a lousy musician and that's just what it is.
So then he hears a strange thud, and he goes towards the open door and closes it.
He hears a strange thud and still can't keep beat with that.
Mm-mm. And then it cuts to a first-person POV outside watching Bruno. And then Bruno starts working on the music, and then you can hear this mysterious whispering, which the recording is capturing, but Bruno doesn't know that. And so this scene gets pretty tedious, I'll admit. He does it for a while. Bruno finds the picture cut up and hears whispers, so he goes to check it out. And the lights aren't working down in the hallway downstairs. And someone's watching with this box cutter, clicking it up so the blade is more up.
Nobody's ever heard that sound.
So, also we see these black pumps. And then all of a sudden some woman jumps out of the closet in the house, in the villa.
Bruno's got fucking ass falling out of all kinds of cupboards.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So at this point, there's no
this
real...
This is not this is the first in the movie, but not the last.
Yeah, and there's no real reasoning as to why she was in the house.
Or in the closet.
And every time he asks her, she kind of just like changes the subject and is real weird about it.
Well, it's a sure sign of somebody wanting to fuck.
And, yeah, right. And she was like, so she goes, "Are you a friend of Linda's?" Now, Linda's going to be a big point here.
Yeah, plot device.
Yeah. So her name's Katya. And she still never really explains why she's there, but she tries to act like the reason she's there is because he's cute. But it's like very weirdly normalized that she's there. Like by Bruno,
I gotta move to Emily or to Italy. Hey, the continent of and the country of Emily. No, I gotta move to Italy. If this shit just fucking happens and people call it, like a day, I want to go there.
Yeah. So while Bruno's trying to ask her why she's there, he gets a phone call. So he gets on the phone and it's Tony, the landlord, and then Katya at the same time is like,
Anthony.
Where's I need to use the bathroom. And so he's like, as if she's never been there. She's clearly in the closet, but what the fuck ever. Anyway, so.
Well, obviously she doesn't know how to use doors. So I wouldn't trust her peeing in my house either.
No, but Tony calls Bruno about the cassette because he's like, "Are you done with the cassette?" And
that's pretty pushy from a couple hours.
Yeah. So Tony says that Linda, the last tenant, was strange, and to get Giovanni to get the missing bulbs for the lights downstairs.
Giovanni, the even stranger fucking groundskeeper?
Yeah, so yeah, Giovanni's clearly the red herring here, so he's clearly not going to be the killer because that is not how Giallos work at all. So Katya leaves without really saying anything to Bruno, and Bruno looks for her, but when he looks in that closet, he finds her journal, and it says something like, "I've discovered Linda's secret. It's terrible but fascinating, and I want to tell Angela."
Just like a woman would do.
Yeah.
Read somebody else's diary and be a jerk about it, and then go write in their diary about how they've sold them down the river.
So she says that she wants to tell Angela. We don't know who she is yet, but she's also had some kind of premonition. Then the next scene is this really, really long, tedious chase scene of the killer's POV chasing Katya outside. Now, first the killer slashes her face and her hand, and then she runs into down these stairs into this dark corridor, which is basically like a maze. I don't know what this downstairs of this villa is, but it's a fucking maze. And she gets behind this chain link piece of wall thing. It's not a gate, it's just there. I don't know. She gets behind there and she's trying to hide from the killer. And the killer finds her and starts stabbing her through the fence thing, chain linked thing.
Yeah, and she had to lean up to it just so he could stab her.
Yeah, she doesn't try to get away. She leans up against it. And I
don't know if you use the if you lose the will to live, go for it.
She did it real quick.
Let somebody box cutter you to death.
At the same time,
if that's your thing, man.
At the same time, Bruno is recording, so we're also kind of.
And man, that soundtrack slaps.
Yeah,
not really.
It does for a minute, and then you get roll over it.
I don't think Bruno's really onto anything.
Well, he has one thing he does, but anyway,
he plays that one song.
We're supposed to kind of assume that the recording that he's making is maybe capturing this murder, but anyway, she makes no attempt at trying to get away. So she's stabbed in the chest area, and then her throat is slit. So there's our first death. And
during
it's very anticlimactic.
Bruno's,
for a long chase scene, it's very anticlimactic.
During Bruno's plastic inevitable freakout, his music that is bullshit. No, that shit sucks.
I do like the soundtrack. I just think they play it way too much. So
they only wrote one passage of it.
Yeah. So Bruno is listening. It cuts to Bruno listening to the recording as the killer. This is also a long scene. As the kill, it cuts between him listening to the recording and the killer dragging Katya's body away.
And getting caught on a fucking twig.
Yeah. And he hears whispers in the recording, so he rewinds it. The killer's still dragging the body.
Can't drag it faster.
While making these dumb fucking noises like...
whimpering.
Another movie where we hear these dumb fucking noises by the killer. So Bruno cuts down the music so he can hear the whispers, and
that's how you record, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
that's how you produce.
And so he hears some
whispers.
It down.
Turn your instruments down. I want to hear the whispers.
Where he talks about, and he goes into this. He hears it once, and then he talks about it like 4 different times, and it's like he never heard anything different. But whatever.
This movie is all pontificating.
So he hears these whispers saying, "Linda, no one must know." So then,
is that what it said?
Yeah.
God, I was trying to hear
everything's kind of like quote indistinctive. I was trying to hear it.
I was trying to hear it over the roars of me telling me don't rewind it, and I didn't.
So the first person, then we cut back to the first person POV with the box cutter looking in on Bruno. And Bruno keeps listening to the recording and the whispers, and it's still the same shit being repeated. I don't know why he can't just like hear it saying Linda about the secret. So
yeah, but now he's got blood on his pants and everything's different.
No, he doesn't. Not yet.
Not yet?
No, not yet. He's still inside. So Katya's he inside. So still she's being drug away, but she's outside now.
Yeah.
So it's still artful. Bruno is listening. The same shit. It's the same thing. Linda, no one must know. So he looks into Katya's journal again, and then he goes outside to smoke and just misses Katya's corpse still being drugged.
Italians smoke a lot.
Yeah. So then he hears a sound in the bushes, and so he goes to investigate, and he almost finds Katya's body, but apparently doesn't know how to look down. Because it's literally right below, like if he looked down, he would have seen it. But
Italians are disinterested and distracted.
Yeah, so then he gets a phone call because while he was looking,
it's the only thing that gets an Italian's attention.
Well, the box cutter was being protracted again.
No, box cutter won't get an Italian's attention. A phone call will.
I'm just saying, at the same time, I think
if you throw a cigarette and make a phone call to the house that they're living in, they'll get really confused.
So. Well,
have you ever met Italians?
You're supposed to think that this guy, whoever the killer is protracting the box cutter to, kill Bruno.
Yeah, but Italians don't care about box cutters.
He gets the phone call, and so he walks away. So, and it's like this creepy.
Whenever they're opening boxes, they don't use box cutters. They just use their natural body musk.
Yeah.
And the tape just like flays off because the glue is rendered useless.
He goes back.
Have you ever met an Italian?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't have them in the house.
I've been to Italy.
All the sealant and the stain from your woodwork will go away.
Well, I have been to Italy, and
you have?
And our bus driver for the. Well, we only went to Vienna, so like not the greatest part of Italy. So you only had
sausages?
I'm sorry, not Vienna, Venice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Venice. But it was on this like trip.
A whole city of people who can't take the fucking hint to move.
Yeah. It's kind of like New Orleans. Yeah.
It's like Florida's going to be in 5 years.
Or New Orleans. But
there's a Naples in Florida.
That's true. There's a Naples here too. Or wait, it got closed down.
I don't know. I don't know any of these places.
No, I think it's still open.
I've been to Florida and I still don't know it.
There's a Naples in Knoxville. There was. But anyway.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. So he gets this, the phone call he gets is really creepy. It's this like voice on the other line, and he just hangs up.
I've dated girls like that.
I know you have. So he goes back outside with a flashlight and finds blood on a leaf.
Yeah.
Okay. So he sees a weird room next to the pool with nude photos inside. So I think it's Giovanni's room.
Okay. Yeah. Giovanni, he's a lonely groundskeeper.
Yeah. So he looks down the stairs where Katya had been
and he's not
chased
old.
down.
That's the weird thing about Giovanni. He's not old. He's young and virile.
Yeah, pretty young. But then he sees the corridor that Katya had earlier been chased down, and he goes down there, and he finds blood on the stairs. And then his music starts randomly playing, so he starts walking back there, and then the music stops.
Well,
so
doesn't the camera always fucking cuts right before he tastes this blood. And you know Bruno is tasting this goddamn blood.
Yeah, he is.
And it's like every time he dips his goddamn finger in it.
Yeah, it's gross. I mean, this is like at the very beginning of the AIDS epidemic.
Fucking pseudo vampire.
So he starts walking back to the studio, but then the music stops and he looks into the music room and it looks normal. But then he walks in and the recording, all the tape is like in a pile. It's been shredded. And
yeah, because nobody locks or fucking closes their goddamn doors or windows in fucking Italy.
And then also he finds the journal and it's like
diary.
I think it was it put in the fire? There's a fire burning that wasn't burning before.
No,
and then
girls' diaries don't burn.
The journal, it's been like pages have been ripped out.
I grew up with a little sister. I tried to burn that shit 1,000 times. It doesn't burn.
Well, some pages have been ripped out.
No. You guys are sinister. It doesn't burn.
So then I didn't never write in a diary. Well,
try
no,
to
that's
burn
not
your
true.
diary.
My mom would
write
write
one
in
and
it.
try it.
My mom would write it in it for me when I was really little.
Try to burn your mother's diary that is ghostwritten by her of you, whatever the fuck that is.
It's just about like the boxcar children and what I did that day. So I don't really think it's like
Ma and Pa Kettle.
Yeah, it's not like
fuck.
There's not a lot. It was when I was 4. It was just like what I did that day. So
okay.
So then it cuts to Giovanni dragging something up the steps. It's in a trash bag, and Bruno asks what's in the sack, and he's like, old magazines and newspapers.
And you know what those magazines were, right?
The nudie ones, I'm assuming.
And I can't imagine with a trash bag that full, if he was reading that many newspapers, how did he have such a bad or short display of porno on his wall?
I don't know.
I mean, how bad were those magazines?
I mean,
it's
also,
Italy.
Why are they so heavy? Anyway, so we're supposed to think that maybe
I will
there
say
could be a
about
body
this
in it.
movie, Italy, especially in the early 80s, could have been more titties. Sorry.
Well, there aren't that many. Anyway.
Yeah, but I thought they were pretty comfortable with their sexuality and their bodies and everything. I thought they were pretty in with it. We got one pair. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. So, Bruno helps him drag the stuff up, and then he asks Giovanni about Linda. But Giovanni had apparently just been hired right before she left. So and then he never knew Katia, because Bruno asks about her too. So then it cuts to Bruno looking around the house, and then his girlfriend, not Sandra, whatever. It's her name's Julia. She pops out of nowhere because apparently her theater practice was canceled.
Also, why is the fucking landlord there every fucking day?
I don't know.
Like I thought this guy was like.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
He's only got a month. I would imagine a landlord would like go the fuck away or some shit.
Well, I think he's pretty like obsessed with Bruno, but anyway.
Well, if I was Bruno, I would definitely be like, "Yo, dude, like I gotta get some shit done. Like, get done. I paid you your money. Get out. Be gone."
Well, there's really no reason. Also, for I don't know. He never is weirded out by anybody popping out in his house, so I don't know why that'd be any different. So
the ladies are a little different.
Well, at least Tony, it seems like he might have a reason because he's a landlord, but like whatever. So so his girlfriend pops out of nowhere, and she says her theater practice was canceled, so she drove like a really long way to
like
see
they
him.
Don't do.
So she tried to call, but she couldn't get a hold of him. And
she would, in real life, she would just find somebody else to fuck.
Yeah, because also she could only be there for like an hour or something.
Mm-hmm. She already had somebody else to fuck.
So then it cuts to the first person POV, and it turns into Giovanni's POV.
Giovanni.
And he likes newspaper clippings about murder. So there's another red herring thing.
He's also a fucking peeping Tom voyeur.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like in movies, all groundskeepers are. Because, I mean, like, why would you, like, that's why you become a groundskeeper.
Man, there's probably a groundskeeper union that's against that shit. That pigeonholes into that shit. Yeah. I'm not joking, man.
So
maybe I'll go undercover groundskeeper just to figure this out. To catch a groundskeeper.
So Bruno tells Julia about Katya, and so instead of like listening to him, she just gets jealous, and they argue about it. Then Bruno reads the stuff he heard on the recording again. Linda, no one knows, whatever, no one should tell, whatever it was, and she goes, "And I suppose the gardener is the killer." Okay, so she
pigeonholing.
So she leaves to go back to rehearsal. At this point, Bruno is already.
Well, no. They had a quick tryst, or not tryst, but a quick little sleep real fast. That was some surprise ass. And right before that, Bruno has this really, really cool hotline phone that has to be to the fucking. It's red and it has to be to the you know. It only goes to either Commissioner Gordon or the powers of the world.
Well, what is ridiculous also is by this point, he is already convinced that Katya was murdered, which I think is like a little bit. He has no qualm. I mean, it's like she was murdered.
And Julia has no questions about this. She fucks him immediately and is wanting to get out.
Yeah. So,
which, if I was dating Bruno, I would do as well.
After she leaves, Bruno walks around the house, and he's right next to that chain-linked thing where Katya was killed. And you think for a second that he finds this clump of hair in the chain-link, whatever it is. But nope, he didn't.
No, it's
he just
shot.
Walks right by it without noticing. I don't know how. So this is also real tedious. He just keeps walking around everywhere trying to open this door that's locked. And then that's when Tony shows up. And he says that that's locked because the last tenant stuff is in there. And he's there to check on the pool because apparently the pool smells. And then they talk about Katya and Linda. And Tony wonders why Bruno has all this interest in some woman named Linda. And then Bruno says he thinks that Katya was meeting Linda, and the phone rings, and then Tony says he's leaving for Kuwait.
Yeah. It's a really weird thing to say. Well, he talks about to Bruno.
He's like, I gotta go get dressed. Well, I'm going to Kuwait.
Well, he's like, hey, if I had the money that, if I had the money that my dad had, I'd own a place like this or whatever. And Bruno,
but he does own it.
Yeah, but Bruno says it's like, like a villa like this, and this is early on in the movie, and he's like, yeah, but then we wouldn't be renting it to people like you. And he's like, well, okay, my dad's in Kuwait, I'm off.
It's so fucking weird.
I don't understand what that plot device is or anything. It makes no sense.
But the next scene is when I was little. It used to be one of my favorites because Sandra calls him and she tries to scare him first. It's like a prank call, but then she's like, "I want to see you at 6:30." And when she's getting off the phone, instead of saying "chow," she goes "chow." Chow. And I was just like, I thought that was so funny when I was little.
Dude,
anyway,
the Italian listeners are going to be so mad.
Oh, how dare you! So then,
but it's all subtitled on their headphones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bruno,
then it's good.
Bruno's making music again. Another girl shows up. Now this is Angela. Is
he making music again, or is he just doing the same goddamn thing?
I think he's just doing the same goddamn thing. But right. This is Angela. Now this is the girl that, if you remember Katya's journal, she wanted to tell Angela whatever this thing was she had found out about Linda.
I'd like to tell Angela a couple of things.
Yeah. So Giovanni sees her, and but he hides. But then she sees him. She's like, "Ciao, Giovanni." She barges in on Bruno looking for Katya. She says she never returned to the house. I guess they were roommates. And she had said that Katya had come to
Again, this is more surprise ass.
Yeah. And she's like,
this guy lives a good life.
Because Bruno's like, well, why was she here? And Angela's like, well, she was coming to get her journal.
He's had 3 women throw themselves at him in the last 10 minutes, and he's been with one of them. So,
well, he's loyal.
And Bruno looks like a fucking like a member that got kicked out of a fucking Weezer cover band.
God. So
because he was Italian.
He asks,
it had nothing to do with musicianship.
So like he couldn't be in. That was Latina. Never mind. I was about to say menudo, but that's not Italian. So he asks Angela about Linda, and she says a bunch of stuff like she was kind and they hung out sometimes. But the main point she makes is that Linda would let them use the pool. So basically being like, let me use the pool.
Yeah.
Even though it smells like shit, apparently, but whatever.
No. She still wants to go swimming.
Yeah. So Bruno says she can use the pool. So,
of course he does.
Bruno leaves because he's supposed to meet Sandra.
He's got a little Tom Atkins in him.
Yeah. He's
let him play.
Yeah. He's got to leave because he's supposed to meet Sandra at 6:30, and Angela goes swimming
in the stinky pool.
And then it cuts to Bruno, and he's at the studio alone, and Sandra hasn't arrived. Then it cuts back to Angela, and she's done swimming. So she goes inside, and this is, I think we both agree, the best scene in the movie. She goes inside to wash her hair in the sink.
Also, she's the first girl we get to see some boobs.
Do we see her boobs?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
In the shower, yeah.
Well, she's not taking a shower, though. Well, she's robed and just washing her hair in the sink.
Well, maybe it's before. Maybe it's whenever she's getting into her bikini. I don't know. But it's the only Italian boobs we get to see in an Italian film, which I think is lacking.
In between...
Not her boobs, just the amount.
So, in between her, like, washing her hair in the sink, there's cuts of this... it looks like a woman's hand because she has nail polish on and making stupid noises trying to pick out a knife. And then it cuts back to Angela, and she's going to reach for the shampoo. Mm-hmm. And she can't really see, so she's just kind of reaching for it. And the killer stabs her through the hand, which is, I mean, it's gnarly.
It goes down on the counter.
And then
awesome.
she puts the killer puts a plastic bag on Angela's head and then starts banging it against the sink while laughing this stupid laugh, like, ah, ah. And so Angela is trying to, like, at the same time trying to, like, free her hand.
Yeah, and this is one of the best, really one of the best effects of the movie. Honestly, one of the best parts of the movie is there's a part where the effect is the knife is through the hand, but the hand is rising up and down the knife.
Yeah.
And there's a side shot of the hand, and the hand is moving, and it's a real person's hand. I don't know exactly how they did this, but then later, whenever it's struggling, it pulls through the middle of the hand.
It goes through, like, between the fingers.
But I don't know how they did that effect, but it's really good.
But at the same time, she's being suffocated while her head is being bashed against the sink. And then once she's dead, the killer puts her bagged head over the tub and it slices her throat like a
bloodiest scene of the movie,
like a pig in a slaughterhouse. And then she's turned on the other side. Angela is, and you see her dead face and her throat slit. It's really cool.
Her dead face.
And then the killer makes these dumb noises while she cleans up.
Yeah, with Kleenex.
Yeah, just with Kleenex, being like,
No. I know it's later on, but like next time we enter this bathroom, this place is spotless.
Yeah, well, besides a couple things that Bruno notices.
Those margaritas were brutal.
So it cuts to Bruno watching the "You're a female" scene. And writes a note to Sandra saying, because he waited.
Sandra's trying to fuck Bruno as well.
Maybe, but he writes a note to Sandra saying he waited till 8 and he's going home. So then we cut to a POV shot of the villa with the music playing again. And there's also like a digging sound going on, but Bruno's playing.
Yeah.
And he goes to get water, and then while he's getting the water, he notices there's a knife missing from the wall, and it's next to the sink, but he didn't put it there. So he's like, well, that's weird. But he puts it up with the other ones because they were all like on the wall.
Oh, yeah. A knife magnet, knife case.
He goes to take a shower, but there are pearls that are caught in the drain. Then he sees...
Only a true pervert would notice that.
Well, he can't get it to... The only reason he can't get it to shut... I think he's going to take a bath, actually. He can't get the drain to, like, shut because there's stuff caught in
boy.
it. And then he notices a bloody knife gash in the sink where her hand had gotten knifed, but it's still a little bit bloody. And he gets the knife that
this is part of the thing where he's almost going to taste it again.
Yeah.
I know it never shows where he tastes it but there's one shot in the movie early on where he looks at blood, hits it with his finger, and then as soon as the camera cuts, he's raising it to his face. I love
it. He's a you're convinced he's a vampire.
I think he might be. I think he might be the actual fucking villain in this movie.
So Bruno. He goes to get he goes down and he grabs the knife that he had put up, and he brings it back to the bathroom, and it's like a perfect match to the knife hole in the sink. Of course. And then there's a POV person walking up the stairs. So Bruno's investigating.
Very slowly.
Yes, all of this is slow. So Bruno starts investigating. Now and then at this point he's recording himself.
Dude, his book on tape is better than his fucking track of music.
Well, I do like the song. It
sucks on music.
I do like the song. It just plays too many times. If it had played once, I'd be cool with it.
If he would have narrated the whole film and never played, I would have been cool with it.
So yeah, he starts recording himself, talking about everything going on with fucking like Linda jerk. And all this death that he thinks is going on, and he's fascinated. He says he knows Katya and Angela. Apparently he knows that they were killed in the house. So where are the bodies? Then the front doorbell rings, and it's Sandra.
Sandra.
I just find it so weird that he's just like, well, I know they're dead. I mean, like, that's not the first.
Oh, Sandra seems pretty cool with everything that's going on.
With the girls, you're just like, oh, well, I can't find them. Obviously, they're dead. I mean, like, he was right, but like.
Sandra is the girl, even though she's the director. She seems like the girl that he should have been with. She's pretty righteous and pretty down with everything. And even at the end of the film, she's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, maybe that's why they made the mistake on the back of the box and said that she was his girlfriend. But, it was
Is that what they said?
Freudian, thinking
maybe she was.
Well, she wasn't. But Bruno, Bruno starts telling everything to Sandra, and she thinks the story is fantastic but scary. That's what she says. So if it's true, the bodies must still be there. That's what she says. He brings up Linda.
You move the gravestones, but not the bodies.
So he brings up Linda, and Sandra's like, well, I used to know a Linda, but it couldn't be her. Let's take a look in the room downstairs, that locked room from earlier. And he's like, well, it's locked. They go down there though, but now it's not locked anymore. So how
did that get done?
Yeah, who knows? So
oh no.
So first he looks in a box, and there's some nudie magazines, and then
it just looks like pretty much people's storage.
Yeah. Then he looks in a suitcase and clothes, and then he opens this trunk. And there's a bunch of tennis balls.
Oh, God. What a plot device.
And so...
Has the killer been revealed?
So because of this, Sandra is like, oh my gosh, it is the same Linda, because she liked to play tennis.
Dude, this tennis theme is fucking weak, man.
Yeah. But apparently tennis balls scared Linda. So...
If I could scare someone with tennis balls, I would do it.
And then she finally admits that Linda...
I got a pair of tennis balls right here for you.
So Linda finally admits that... Sandra finally admits that the movie was inspired by Linda as a child. And then they hear someone come into the house upstairs. They're in the studio, the people that just came in.
Yeah.
And... I think Bruno says it sounds like a woman because you can hear like the clicks of the heels.
Yeah, you can tell when they're walking all bitchy.
Yep. True. And so
switching that ass.
This is where I wrote quote unquote Linda's POV sees a knife.
Bruno's girlfriend fucking sucks.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
Julia sucks.
Yeah. So quote unquote Linda, who I guess we're thinking it's Linda now. It's her POV. She sees a knife and hears them downstairs and grabs the knife. This person ends up not being Linda or the killer or anyone else, or maybe it is, but it's Julia. Julia has come back. This is Bruno's girlfriend. So Sandra at this point is over all this bullshit, and she's like, bye, see you later. So
yeah, you got a girlfriend, I'm out.
Yeah, so of course Julia gets jealous. They start arguing again. It's tedious. So why is she here?
Because he knows another female?
Yeah.
Okay.
Typical.
Yeah.
And she says that the play got suspended. And then Bruno notices that she has a tennis ball with her. And then she goes, don't you remember we met playing tennis? And then Bruno goes...
Who the fuck meets playing tennis?
Then Bruno goes, tell me about you. Like, what? They've been dating. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Who the fuck meets playing tennis?
I don't know, but...
If I met somebody playing tennis and they were like, hey, let's go get a drink, I'd be like, fuck you. I don't know you. You're a psychopath. I've played tennis. I played with a buddy of mine. And,
Isaiah?
Isaiah. And no, dude, I don't want to meet anymore.
I want to play with you. I play tennis.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I actually really like playing.
We can arrange that.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
But don't fucking meet me.
It won't be like that. I think it's okay when you meet your friends to play tennis. So then after that, Bruno wakes up the next morning and Julia isn't in bed. And then
that's never happened to you there, Bruno?
I know, right? Ooh. So then it cuts to Sandra, and she's at her house, and she calls Linda, and Linda's just crying on the phone. And Sandra's telling her that she didn't betray her, but she did use some of her story for the film. And she says, quote, I didn't say anything. Linda never responds. She just like cries. So then it cuts to Bruno looking for Julia. And he sees Giovanni. And Giovanni says Julia was over by the cottage. Julia's watching them though. And Bruno...
Also, Giovanni, we failed to mention this. He's kind of a peeping Tom. And,
no, you already said it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, let's reinforce that. Giovanni's a creep.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
I mean, and clearly he's meant to be that way because in Giallos
Not
you
all
have to have...
groundskeepers are like that.
No, but I'm saying like you have to have someone that is
I really don't want to get sued by the groundskeepers union.
Yeah, but you didn't care about saying Blue Lives. Okay, anyway, but
I never said Blue Lives Matter.
But you're concerned about the groundskeeper union.
I am anti that.
Anyway, so Bruno walks in to his studio, and the film, his reels that he's been recording on are running.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? But then he stops them, and Julia sits up, and she had been listening to it on her headphones, and. So then Bruno screams, 2 girls were killed here. I still don't know why
2 girls, 1 cup.
I still don't know how he's so... I mean, like, okay, yeah, he's right. But, like, I still don't understand, like, where he's so convinced about this. But, okay. And
Giovanni, the groundskeeper, maybe could have stopped all this shit, but he was too busy fucking sitting in his little porno lair. But I'm also dungeon.
Like, if you're so convinced that 2 girls have been murdered here, then why don't you fucking leave?
If you're so convinced that 2 girls, 1 cup is actually a thing, then fucking watch it.
It's not. It's fake. But
no, it's real.
It's fake.
That shit happened.
Probably at some point, but that
something
came
out of those girls' butts.
I know, but me and Katie have had this conversation.
It doesn't matter.
So, okay.
It's there.
I just don't understand why, if he's so convinced that people have been murdered at this house, like, why he doesn't leave, but he doesn't. So, anyway, they end up arguing again because him and Julia do not have a good relationship. So, then it cuts to Bruno helping Giovanni with a package, and he asks if Giovanni if Julia had come around before he took the villa, and asks about the girls, and then Giovanni says, well, maybe they're dead. It's a joke.
Oh, yeah.
But then he's
the werewolf,
right? So then he sees Julia out by the pool, and he tells her that he has to leave for an hour and wants her to come with him. And then
the 2 people never come together.
They argue again, and he calls her a vacant nerd.
That's one of the best insults I've ever heard in my life.
Anyway, she won't go with him because she says she wants to lay out by the pool.
Also, that one of the best fucking insults I've ever heard is from this movie is, that ain't all you're gonna get tonight, cockroach.
Cockroach.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, Vacant Nerds too.
Even though it was dubbed in an American accent.
Yeah. And they argue per usual. Then she doesn't want to go with them, so he leaves by himself. So it cuts to him pulling up to this payphone, and he's calling the theater that Julia says she's been doing this play for, and he asks about the play being blacked out.
She's never been there.
And they're like, this show was a children's show, not a blacked out. And apparently
sexy children's show.
Julia had left opening night without a word the week prior. So a week before.
Now she's suspect.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, she had been kind of suspect earlier because of the tennis ball. But anyway, then there's a POV of someone at Sandra's studio. It's Linda. And she steals the last reel and tries to shred it. So after that, Bruno pulls up to the studio, to Sandra's studio. He wants to see the last reel. Tells the guy, he's like, I can't do the music for the end of the movie unless I see it. Which I don't know why, because he's been doing the same fucking song.
I thought I was a fucking musician. I need to get into this business.
So
Jesus Christ, there's ass falling out of fucking closets. There's fucking murder mysteries, man. Like, this is way more fun.
And also, I'm pretty sure that there's this woman in the background that you see for a second.
That's more pussy
on the phone, but it's like a man dressed up as a woman. I'm pretty sure. Anyway,
it doesn't matter in the dark.
So
It's a blade in the dark.
Bruno finds the shredded up reels.
A lay in the dark.
And apparently, the guy tells him he hasn't seen Sandra, but he didn't see anyone go in there or come out. Have two separate scenes splicing with each other. Giovanni's doing stuff.
Giovanni.
And it splices with Bruno and the guy that works at Sandra's studio trying to put the last reel back together. And then it cuts back to Giovanni, and he finds the dead women in the water tank. So that's what was making the pool smell. And then he's hit over the head repeatedly with a wrench. And
it wasn't Giovanni.
It was not Giovanni. So then we cut back to Bruno and the guy putting the reel back together, and there's a girl in the final reel. It's just a shadow. So the killer in the film is a woman in this film.
Yes.
So, okay. So we cut to Sandra showing up at the villa looking for Linda. She has a knife, and she sees the bloody wrench, and Giovanni pops up reaching out to her because I guess he's still kind of alive. She drops the knife, and then she's strangled by film reel. Like by the reel of film.
Oh, celluloid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it cuts back to Bruno racing home to the villa. And this part, the music is really hilarious and out of place. It's not the music from the movie. It's just some really ridiculous music. So now we're at the villa, and Bruno's not there yet, but Julia finds the reel and a pile of the reels, and Sandra is underneath. She, like her dead body. So then there's this super long chase scene. There's a lot of hiding.
No, it's what do you call it? Plotting and just drudging.
Yeah,
and,
it's so. Ugh. It's
like somebody is walking slower than they could ever walk.
Yeah. So Linda finally talks, and she's like, "I thought of you too," and this does not sound like a woman, okay? So then there's more chase, and these tennis balls fall from the sky, basically from above. And Julia,
somebody re-angled that fucking goddamn trunk what is it? The trunk of fucking tennis balls.
And Julia falls, and then
terrible plot.
She starts running again, and then she hides in one of these like closet things. And
that's
then
where women go in this house.
Then there's the
Closets.
killer POV, and then the stupid laughing that she does. She's like, "Don't be afraid. I don't want to hurt you. I want your blood." And so she starts stabbing through the like cabinet or closet or whatever that Julia's hiding in. And Bruno pulls up, and he's screaming for Julia. So she eventually runs, but she falls on the tennis balls here. Sorry, not before. This is where she falls on the tennis balls. It was after. And then she gets up, and as soon as she's about to get to Bruno, the killer stabs her through the back into the through the chest from her back.
Yeah. Oh, she dies.
And then
that's the one thing I didn't see coming besides the jump scare.
You
that's
thought
about
she
to
was
happen.
gonna.
I thought she was gonna make it.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like her.
And then the killer starts to attack Bruno, but Bruno hits the killer with a brick. And then he turns around because I guess he thinks the killer's dead. You should never think that, but this is the 80s, so whatever. So Bruno's over and he's like, Julia, no, blah blah blah.
But he sees the wig.
But he turns because he thinks the killer's still down because there's hair.
He thinks it's a woman.
Yeah. So because the hair is still there, but it's actually Tony, the landlord, has moved, and it was a wig, and he's been wearing women's clothing, and he jumps out of nowhere.
Only jump scare in the whole movie. Only thing that is kind of like, and then once it's worn off, which is immediate,
yeah,
it's pretty pathetic.
Yeah. So Bruno takes the knife there's a knife kind of fight, and he grabs it and pushes it towards Tony, and he stabs.
Somebody overpowered another dude with a box cutter.
It wasn't a box cutter this time; it was a regular knife.
Oh, so he leveled up.
Yeah, and so Tony / Linda dies as he says, "I'm not a female child." So
wow.
And then at the end of the movie, we have Bruno and the guy that were putting together the reels back together, watching it. And the kid from the beginning of the movie, Bob from House by the Cemetery, is walking back up the stairs and has a wig on, like a woman's wig on with pigtails. And so this is what Bruno philosophizes. Is that what the word is?
Mm-hmm.
The movie. He says, Sandra was right about Linda, but she didn't know. What she didn't know was Tony's she didn't know it was Tony's alter ego. Sorry. His ego as a child was too fragile, which caused his masculinity to regress. But he couldn't kill his alter ego, so he projected his anger onto other girls, wishing to kill the girl in himself. He knifed those girls to show that he wasn't scared. That's the end of the movie.
Well, he can have that, but what I've got is, and I know you're going to give your rating here in a minute.
Well,
but,
I'm going to say that
too long and boring plot twist wasn't worth the wait, and good-looking Italian chicks, that's pretty cool. And there wasn't enough suspense and gore, and the hand scene was really, really great.
Yeah, I also do think that I've talked about other movies not being bad for the LGBTQ community. This one is. Because it kind of portrays that, because that explanation alone makes absolutely zero sense, and it does portray someone with that is in part of the LGBTQ community just being a maniac. So I do see that as a problem, as being problematic. But anyway, so here's some fun facts about the movie. I already talked about how it was originally planned as a 30-minute segment television show kind of thing, where there was going to be a murder at the end of each segment. It was found too gruesome for Italian TV and was re-edited to be a feature film. The Italian title for this movie is La Casa con la Scala nel Buio, the house with the dark staircase. Mm-hmm. And Lamberto Bava actually likes the American title more and thinks it fits the movie better. So Bava was offered to direct this while he was assisting Dario Argento on Tenebrae. And apparently the writing team for this movie did not get along well. They had written Twitch of the Death Nerve in 1981 together, and they had gotten along pretty well during that, but they did not get along well during this. So I think that's seen. The producer, Luciano Martino, provided his own villa as the location for filming, so there were no sets built for this film at all. It was all basically, there's a studio and then the villa, so that was a real place.
Yeah, it was basically filmed in a house.
And it has been criticized for bad dubbing, even for Giallo. We already talked about that. Like, I think some of the stuff doesn't translate well, like You Are a Female and some stuff like that, but I don't really think it's that great. I do think this movie is pretty transphobic, honestly. especially by that end of that explanation at the end.
Just at the end, it's just terrible.
In general, and having
doesn't make any sense.
But I'm thinking, and I said this earlier, having my degree in psychology and counselor education, like that is a nonsensical explanation.
Yeah, it's a stupid
it makes
ending.
no fucking sense.
Yeah.
So, however, I do really like this movie, and I give it.
I do not.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
I give it 4 thumbs down.
I do think that the music is good, although overplayed. I do like the gore. I do give it 1 star for the gore. Now, I gave Maniac 2 stars for the gore because there was a lot more. There's not a whole lot of gore in this movie, but that hand scene alone.
That is great. Yes. That is wonderful.
I do give it a star for that.
As far as horror movies go, that should be seen.
Yeah,
yes.
That scene is fantastic. That alone gets a star for me. There is no camaraderie, so I don't give it any for that. I did give it half a star for acting. I think it has pretty okay rewatchability. I gave it 0.75 for that. And I think it's actually like a okay movie. I gave it 0.75 for that. So that reaches 4 out of 5 for me. So we have 6 kills. One is Katya. She stabbed and then her throat slit with an X-Acto knife. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is Angela. She's stabbed in the hand. Then she's suffocated and beaten in the head with a plastic bag and her throat is slit. We have Giovanni, who is beaten with a wrench. Then we have Sandra, who is garroted with a roll of film. And next we have Julie. She's stabbed through the back, through the chest. And then number 6, we have Linda/Tony, who is beaten with a brick and stabbed in the stomach. So, I say gag yourself with fingernail polish. Gag yourself with the blade in the dark. Gag yourself with an X-Acto knife. And let's see. What else? What do you think? Okay, and what are your stars again? Sorry.
My stars are 4 thumbs down, 1 star. And yeah.
Is the star only for the gore in that one scene?
Yes. Yes, it is.
What do you think we should say gagged on?
Stay gagged on a life. Stay gagged on a wife. And preferably yours. If not, somebody else's. Who cares? Play a fucking stupid goddamn horror theme, and then I guarantee pussy will just an ass will just fall out of closets and fall out of the sky.
And stay gagged on all.
It's never worked for me.
Stay gagged. Well, you don't look like Bruno.
Hey.
Stay gagged on all of our social media, our TikTok, Instagram. We're Gag Me with a Knife Podcast. And our website, gagmewithaknifepodcast.com, where you can buy our merch and find different ways to listen. And we'll see you next time.